3, 2, 1. Back from our hunting and camping trip.
Yep, with
Here we are.
the spoils of war, the only thing we got out there. 4 roses.
Not a bad catch.
Nope. Tasty.
So it was nice to, it was hard to get back into all this shit that's going on.
Yep.
When I was up there, I was by myself with our friend Justin for a couple of days. And then the captain met me up later, and he was going to start telling me about all the crazy shit going on. I'm like, nope, don't want to hear it.
Yep.
Was enjoying the break from society and our batshit insane president and everybody else for a couple of days.
Yeah, and funny enough, like going up there, like I was talking to somebody, and I was like, man, like you're going to have to take notes for me or something, like, you know, because like I was really involved with what was going on at the moment while you were up there, and we'll probably get into it later today. But I was like, man, I hope, you know, something doesn't happen while I'm away and all this stuff. But once I got up there, like Thursday night, like was just such a rush to get everything ready for the next day. Friday, like I had my phone on me just to be safe. We're out there. But like when we got back to like the spot, like that phone went away. I forgot about everything. Yeah. When I got home, I laid right here. I didn't even want to get on Instagram. I didn't even want to see what the good things on Instagram were.
Me too. It was like a grind to get back into everything.
Yep.
It was nice taking a break. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Had a good time. We're fresh, you know, but here we are.
So as always, we'll give a little hello. As always, Doom Nation, welcome back to the Captain's Quarters. We're glad to be back with you guys. Thank you for listening. You guys are awesome. All the followers. We're almost at 1,000 followers, so please hook us up. Get us over 1G. We got some shit for Instagram, motherfuckers. And as always, press the subscribe button at the bottom. And all right, so new episode, new day.
Couple laundry list items. I want to say first, congrats to our friend Jerry. He just recently tied the knot last week. Cheers to him.
Cheers, J-Play.
Got married to our other friend Christina, and they went to nice Niagara Falls for their honeymoon. So congrats again to them.
They had a dope honeymoon suite too.
Good stuff. I also wanted to say Happy Columbus Day, although that is a controversial
we just lost
term.
Followers. Yeah.
Happy, really, Indigenous Peoples Day and Italian American Heritage Day. That's the way I rather put it. I agree. Columbus was kind of a douchebag.
I don't get off anymore, so I don't even care if we do away with the day.
It doesn't deserve to be celebrated, but Italian Americans do.
We definitely
Good
do deserve to
and,
be
whatnot.
celebrated.
So all my paisans out there, happy Italian American Heritage Day.
There we go. The paisans.
So where do you want to begin on the? We missed about a week and a half of shit going on. I have 7 pages of notes here from the vice presidential debate, plus a lot of other crazy shit. We missed Trump being sick with COVID, and
I think where we should start off with, let's curse out Instagram. I mean, we really didn't do anything wrong, and Instagram is really just fucked us over for the past week, and finally now it's back to normal, but things aren't back to normal either.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Skaggs created a backup page today.
Yeah, it's called 2DoomMen_backup as opposed to 2DoomMen_podcast.
There we go. So if you're interested, follow the backup page just in case any bullshit happens again. So
the reason why we need a backup page is because if they were to ban our regular Instagram page, we have to start all over again. And Instagram's a huge tool for marketing, a way for us to reach people, to expand the podcast brand.
Exactly.
To just have it eliminated would be catastrophic for what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we're going to be working on building up. Basically, I would like to just clone everyone who's following the regular Instagram and have them also follow the backup. We're not going to really use the backup until the event that we get banned for nothing, or get banned for saying something controversial, shit like that, which does happen to a lot of podcast pages that we follow and know about.
Yeah. So long story short, basically we were cleaning up some of our Instagram. Instagram said, "You're a bot." We said, "No, you're not." They said, "We don't care." And they banned us for an entire week, down to the 24th hour of the day that they originally banned us at. Insane. And they don't give you like an opportunity to rebuttal, like
nothing.
Yeah, which is Instagram. You're a $1 billion organization. Like, this is your bread and butter, and you just declared you didn't like what we were doing on our own. And what we were doing was we were cleaning up our followers list. A lot of people who weren't following us, we were following them. There's no reason to give them a follow. So we started unfollowing people. We unfollowed maybe close to 1,000 people, a little bit more. And Instagram's like, nope, you're a bot. Goodbye for a whole week.
Yeah, I was also just liking things that, I liked. And because I had a lot of activity and the captain had a lot of activity under the page, they said that we paid somebody to like and follow people on our page, which wasn't true. It was us organically doing it, and we got banned for a week. So we've also had run-ins with them in the past, posting things that they say is not true, and
a lot of stuff about Bill Clinton they wouldn't let us post.
Yeah, so it's just you got to be careful with that type of shit. I'm sure people who have other podcast pages and whatnot know what we're talking about.
Very annoying stuff. But anyway, where do you want to go? Trump COVID, Trump's tweeting rampage, Pence and Kamala.
Let's start. I guess let's go chronologically, right? Let's start with Trump getting COVID because that was before the vice presidential debate.
That was right at the beginning of October. That was something crazy, man. We definitely missed a hell of an episode with that. Because how do you get out? Like, I'm not going to play conspiracy theorist if he actually had it or if this was some big double meaning. I really don't know. But how did he get out so fast, man?
Yeah, I was going to really criticize the fuck out of him because yesterday he's already back out on the campaign trail. He was in Florida doing campaigns, and it's only been like a full week since his since October 2nd.
Yeah, October 2nd
was when they announced he tested positive. So it's only been a full week. He didn't complete the 2-week quarantine, and you know what? Maybe he's better. Obviously, he's better, right? He looks and sounds better, but. My criticism of that is when I was diagnosed with COVID-19, I sat in that fucking shed, which we have filmed numerous episodes of the podcast in, for 2 weeks, separated myself from everybody, and I did what I had to do. Did it suck? Yes. Did I enjoy a little bit of the isolation? Yes. But I just did it. Yeah. I mean, he's not only, not done the 2 weeks, but he's
already back out there.
He's out in with crowds of thousands of people.
I'll come out there and kiss all of you.
It's something I've criticized politicians for a long time. They act like they're better than you, or they're more important than you. Yes, he is the president. I get that, but it's not like he's out there. He's doing campaign rallies. It's not like he's out there doing some sort of science.
Right.
He could do. I'm not saying he doesn't have to be the president. He could do all that stuff and remain in quarantine in the White House and whatnot. It's just annoying to me. When it comes to regular people, I had to do it, but the president doesn't have to do it. And down the ballot, down the ballot for the rest of them. I'm not trying to pick on him specifically.
It's absolutely everyone. There's been several politicians caught without masks and being above the law, but we could criticize him for not doing the 2 weeks. What really was, I'll say, disgusting was how everybody who was, you need to wear your mask, you're going to kill all the old people, to, I hope this old white guy dies. You're a disgusting group of people. Really and wishing Melania Trump to die, like, here is a woman who has literally done nothing to your life other than being guilty to marrying Trump.
Yeah.
Die. It's ridiculous. But my two takeaways from this are three interesting things. One, it completely trumped the BLM narrative. You don't hear nothing about it now. You know what I mean? It's popping up. It's out there. We know it's out there, but like it wasn't center stage. Two, how did he recover so fast if for like 2 days he was in bad shape and then 2 days he felt 20 years younger? What did he take from Regeneron or whatever, that company that's not too far from where we are right now, actually? And just gave away our location. Awesome. So does he have some type of vaccine? What's going to be the deal with this? Like, is it even worth trusting? Because I know like every Democrat's just like every Republican. Like, I'm not taking Biden's or Bill Gates' fucking vaccine, and nobody's going to take Trump's. Yeah. So that was really interesting. Like, how did he pop back so fast?
The whole thing is interesting. I do know that treatment and whatnot has gotten better since the beginning of this thing. And he's the president. Let's be real. How many times have people said, if the president were to be diagnosed with AIDS, you wouldn't even know because they have a cure and they would give it to him. So they gave him the top of the line. First of all, they actually did say it. They gave him like the experimental stuff. So I guess it worked. He is an older guy, so he's higher risk. So I guess they just dosed him up with everything they possibly could have. Plus, he's got the top fucking military scientists, doctors working on him.
I just wish. Well, I already know why they're not pushing into because if this was anybody else, if this was Obama and I hate comparing, but like if Obama came down with COVID and then in 4 days walked out of the hospital, CNN would be in tears of this man's heroic super abilities and stuff. And they would all be asking, how did he get so well so quickly? How is nobody pushing Trump? Like, I don't even think like the CDC's been like, so what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me know. I'm the guy that needs to know. Like, they're not pushing like how he got better. And that is so strange. And the other strangest thing, we don't know if anyone else, like all of Trump's, I think they were calling it like the Rose Garden Massacre, where all the people who tested positive in Trump's inner circle were at that Rose Garden event. And so all those people who tested positive, like Chris Christie and obviously Trump's wife, you know, the first lady, I don't remember everyone else. We haven't had any update on these people. Are they alive? Are they okay? Did they take the same experimental drug that Trump took? Are they feeling it? Like, what's the deal? Like, that's complete silence. What's going on?
The news with Trump overshadowed them, and man, the media went crazy when Trump first got diagnosed with this shit.
Yep.
That was the only thing they were covering, and they were wishing, hoping that he died because of the coverage that it was going to get and the eyeballs that would have been on the TV about it. You know what I mean? They're not going to say that, you know, but they did.
You know what, though? Even though it was a bold-faced lie, I won't even say it's really a lie, but I was watching very carefully, and, like, there was so many people out there of, like, fame and even in politics and people who have ran campaigns and stuff that are like, I hate to say this, but I hope he dies, LOL. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all these crazy tweets from, like, famous people just being super left-wing so they could say they're on the right side. The only two, like, there was obviously plenty of Republicans, but the only two people that, like, three people that shocked me, Biden, Bernie, and Kamala were the only ones that are like, our prayers are with you. We hope you're okay.
They seem sincere, too.
I mean, do they mean it? Probably not. But, like, for political reasons, like I said, lie to us, people. Yeah. We'd rather you start lying to us.
What's crazy, too, is, like you're saying, lie to us. Certain people, like celebrities and whatnot, that were going public wishing. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to expect anyone to not have that thought in their mind that absolutely hates Trump.
Yeah.
But why would you go out there and make such a thing, like a public statement?
Yeah. And what if you, as that celebrity who has, you know, Trump, I hope you die from COVID all over, you come down with COVID. Now all your haters are sitting out there going, I hope you die. I hope you... Is it really worth it? Because, you know what I mean? Nobody's immune to it, clearly.
Yeah. It's odd, strange times we live in, man. Where people are publicly wishing death upon other people. Yeah.
That's what throws my father off so much. Because, I mean, like, he's from a time when, like, Reagan was a superstar. Reagan was a celebrity, you know? And, I mean, he sits back and he's like, they didn't even treat Richard Nixon like this. You know? He's like, he can't understand how, like, Nixon didn't even get it this bad, and they threw him out of office. Like,
right, and he like legitimately committed crimes.
Yeah, he got caught.
Oh man,
it's insane. 2020 special year.
You want to parlay this into maybe some of the notes I have from the debate on COVID specifically?
We could do that. Let me pull them up.
So as you guys know, we're a little bit behind, but there was a debate between Kamala and Mike Pence, and this one was a lot better than the Trump-Biden debate. I watched the entire thing. This actually had nuance, substance. It wasn't perfect, but they both actually made points and got into detail about stuff that I wanted to actually hear about. So let's talk about one of the first couple of things they asked was on COVID. They asked a really good question about why does the United States have a higher death rate than other wealthy countries, specifically like Canada. They asked that to Mike Pence. I mean, he totally danced around giving an answer, which disappointed me, right? That was a great question, I felt like, and I'd like to know, like, all right, if you just take America and Canada, why did more people die here of this disease compared to Canada? And Pence was the guy in charge of the coronavirus task force, right? So I would have liked for him to actually give a response to that, and he just totally danced around it, you know, just said thoughts and prayers or some shit like that. On the positive side of that, Pence did say that when they first were briefed about coronavirus, that Fauci advised them that 2.2 million people could die if all precautions were met and taken. And as everybody's well aware, only 200,000 people have died. That's where we're at now. So that's a lot better than what the scientists were originally saying.
They were 2 million off.
So let's check that on the positive side of Trump's response to coronavirus, and when the Democrats are just saying he's the worst ever and everything was mismanaged.
They would have loved to have seen 2.2 million people die.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They would
just to blame it on him. Yeah.
And then the last thing about Pence with the coronavirus, he said that 5 companies are in phase 3 of clinical trials for vaccines. And this was a great point. He accused Biden and Harris of playing politics with the vaccines and that they're undermining public confidence in a possible vaccine. 100% agree with that, right?
Because we just said it. Everybody's if you're a Democrat, you're not going to take Trump's vaccine. And if you're a Republican, you're not going to take Biden's vaccine.
To Kamala Harris's credit, she said, if a scientist tells me that this vaccine is good, she will take the vaccine. But if Trump says to take the vaccine, she won't take the vaccine. But I mean,
so what if Trump and the scientists tell her at the same time?
You know what I mean? You're still playing politics with it. All I want to know is this shit going to work or not? I don't want to hear what a politician has to say because they're not a doctor. They're not a scientist. If a doctor tells me this is going to work, all right. I don't know if I'm going to take it anyway. But majority of people should just listen to their doctor. Don't listen to the politicians on this shit.
But this is a huge. This is an irreversible problem now. It really is because if Trump gets reelected, half the population isn't going to take this vaccine. And if Biden wins, he'll probably make it mandatory. But like half the population is like they've gone too far with politicizing this vaccine now. And now if this vaccine really is, I've always questioned I never questioned if COVID is real. I've always questioned the numbers and how dangerous it actually is. And there's a lot of weird things. I mean, if anybody is open and reads anything other than like the New York Times, like you could tell there's been a lot of inconsistencies in COVID. But now, like if vaccine A that Trump is pushing is really the fucking real deal, there's going to be so many people who aren't going to benefit from it.
Right.
Because this is already way too far irreversible. Because if Trump wins, nobody's mindset's going to change.
Right.
Even if he was to drain the swamp or, become this miracle person, there's a lot of people that are still not going to be like, I'm not taking shit from this guy.
Right. It's the politicization of it could cause this pandemic to linger on for years because, say what you want. I don't think I'll take the vaccine at the beginning because it's still new. I don't buy the Xbox originally because it's brand new and usually shit's wrong with it. Just to be clear. But if everybody does that, this thing could get pushed years down the road and be used as a weapon in the next election in 2024 again for the brand new candidates. It could still be a fucking that is terrifying. We could be in for years here of shutdowns and lockdowns and nonsense because the vaccine may be so politicized that there may never be a time where they're like, you know what, it's gone.
Yeah.
They'll always hang on to this.
If it's something that they could use for a weapon for the next 4 years, they will use it as a weapon.
And that's what Mike Pence's point was. You're politicizing it instead of just it is what it is.
Yep.
And that's what it always should have been. It should not have been a political thing. It should have been a scientific doctor thing.
And that's why there's conspiracies around it. Because why should it get so politicized? Why is it that it's to the point that now two opposing sides are fighting over how and who they're going to cure first? You know what I mean? Like, my side's going to win and we're going to cure everybody before you do. No, my side's going to, like, how about we cure all American voters and worry about the election later?
Right. How about we just do what is going to, like, what's actually realistic to be done?
Let's have morals.
If the vaccine is proven, it's ready before the election, go. Right? If it's not, then don't go. And that's it. Let's not influence it either way because I want to score points politically. But that's every facet of our society is just infected with this political bipartisanship
politics
bullshit.
Is the biggest trending fashion in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It truly is. It's a fashion statement right now.
It's a
fad.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Speaking about, let's move on. Speaking about, Trump and his, diagnosis, they mentioned presidential health in general. and I thought this was actually really important. They asked if the president, regardless if it's Trump or Biden, should be way more open with their health situations and records to people. Kamala Harris said yes, Trump definitely should, and then she pivoted to his taxes, which had nothing to do with the question whatsoever.
And completely ignored that Joe Biden needs a doctor.
So, on both ends, we should know what sort of health the president is in. Why? Because they are the leader of our country. So both of them, right? Trump was definitely shady with his whole diagnosis about COVID and whatnot.
Yeah.
And on the other side, Biden's really shady with the fact that he fucking forgets his name. Most of the time.
And just this week, he was running for Senate again, and I think he said he was in Pennsylvania, and he was really somewhere else.
Both of them are being shady with their health records. That shit should be public knowledge. I need to know if I'm going to vote for you to be the commander-in-chief of my country, the leader of my country, that you are in the best possible health ever. And that also is a problem with what's going on now, man. There's too many old people in charge. That's why they're hiding it, because they're old, and they probably got a litany of fucking things wrong with them, and they don't want people to know that. Both of them.
Look at it's not even just the two of them. Look at, I know I'm going to end up. You think Nadler is in perfect health?
Oh, he's not.
Pelosi,
Mitch
and Schumer,
even Bernie.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
I mean, just take Schumer and Pelosi. They are well into their 70s. Now, there's nothing wrong with being into your 70s, but you should be enjoying your years now with your grandkids and your children, and not fucking around with the world. I know you have to have some type of condition. You know what I mean? Yeah. Neither of you are superstar athletes. And just the same for Mitch McConnell. The guy's probably eating red meat every day in his life for the past 45 years.
I'm not trying to be ageist either. You could be 75, 80 years old and be in a perfectly good bill of health, and you know what? Then, okay, serve. But if you're not, maybe we should, like you're saying, rethink how...
But this is also where it makes interesting people like AOC and Dan Crenshaw, who are younger and fit and obviously
vibrant.
Yeah, we know the two of them could probably run a 5K no problem. Right. It not that it's sexy or that we need younger good looking people. It's just that I also don't want you to be signing in an order and then die and then they're shit or you know what I mean, or we need your signature and you drop or you get sick.
Also let's be real, old people got old ideas. These same fucking people. Joe Biden's been in politics for 47 years. Nancy Pelosi, 1,000 years. Mitch McConnell's been there forever. Even Trump, he's not been in politics forever, but he's old. He's still got that old man mentality.
He made money in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
The rest of the world has progressed into this young technological millennial era, and the politicians are still way behind.
Yeah, that's why somebody like Mark Zuckerberg create Facebook and become a bajillionaire, because his ideas are light years away.
Right.
Now, I don't like him at all, and I think social media completely ruined us. It's got its great benefits, but social media is a huge downfall of the people. But
overall negative.
Yeah, but someone who could come up with that, you know what I mean? Should also maybe be coming up with how do we progress as a nation into the future? How do we become the Jetsons with flying cars and you know what I mean?
New ideas, that actually will move us in places that we want to go. But it ain't the way it goes. But maybe we'll see. Maybe in 2024 they'll put up Dan Crenshaw against AOC.
Yeah,
that would be great. You might not agree with either of them, but at least they're fresh minds in there.
Yeah, that'd be scary to see AOC up there, but why not? So where are we going to next? Climate change or China?
Oh boy, I definitely want to talk a little bit about climate change. A lot of my notes were very Pence oriented, just because
he did better.
I agree, he did better, but also Kamala gave me. I knew exactly what Kamala was gonna say. I wasn't interested more in what she had to say because I knew exactly
the puppet
what she was going to say. I was more interested in what Pence had to say because they asked him hard questions that were interesting, like climate change, right? Republicans have historically denied climate change and haven't been asked in that setting a great question.
Yeah.
So they asked Pence about it. They asked, do you believe the climate is changing, and do you believe that humans are responsible for climate change? To which, his answer was that the air and water are cleaner than ever under Trump, And he did say that the climate is changing and that they will listen to scientists over what is the actual cause, right? No, I wasn't expecting that answer.
We'll see if that happens, but okay.
Right, because that's usually something Republicans don't say ever. And then he went on to say, which I thought was a great point, that the progress we've made in terms of technology on the climate is due to innovation, right? So what does that mean specifically? I've heard Dan Crenshaw make this point before of against the Green New Deal, which wants to kind of force all of our energy sources into like solar and whatnot. And he's like
California,
right?
Because that's working out.
And Dan Crenshaw's point has always been, why are we trying to force our energy into one specific sector, right? Why don't we force it into every sector by innovation? So if we're trying to bring CO2 levels down, do whatever you possibly can, meaning go into more nuclear power, right? Go into cleaner gas, because maybe the way solar technology works is not at that
it's
level
not at the
yet,
pinnacle yet,
but it might be one day. So in the meantime, don't we want to bring CO2 levels? So we should be doing whatever, all of the above. We should be taking every possible action to bringing it down. Not
see, that's reasonable,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why Dan Crenshaw, I love the guy. He's awesome.
I do too.
He believes in climate change, but he's saying do whatever you can. Don't just force it into one specific industry that maybe is not ready for that load yet.
But that's the problem with the Paris Accords. You know what I mean? Not only the fact that a lot of people don't understand that their tax money is going to cover that climate accord, that Paris Accord, for the rest of the people that signed up to it, but you don't now. Other countries that don't have the same needs as us get to dictate what we need to do to help their needs,
right.
But we don't get to dictate what they get to do to help our needs. We just have to fend for us. It's a good idea on paper if it was all equal shares, but it's not even close to that. Like I always say, China, India, and Russia, their pollution is out of control. We could fix everything, but you ever see the Garbage Island? There's 2 garbage islands.
Yeah.
There's literally 2 islands in the ocean that are just so much trash. They've built an island. Like, how about we just remove it? Figure out a way and just
there's like this kid who's very young who's been working on a way to remove it, and he's like a genius. I forgot what his name is, but he's been working on a way, but like the government hasn't been. It's like private citizens are trying to take up that challenge. And I heard that kid talk, and he's like, look, I'm working on a way to remove this plastic from the ocean, but if we keep putting more plastic in the ocean, what I'm doing is not going to make any difference whatsoever. She's like, we need to figure out that issue.
So what does the Paris Accords do to that? You're just going to throw money at it?
Right.
Where's the innovation that we need to do? Also, you watched a little bit of Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
I did.
What was the first episode? They had the thermal-nuclear power,
geothermal energy, and I think it was Iceland.
Yeah, I mean, we could get parts of the world completely like that. You know what I mean? Like, where you could cut down in certain places. Like,
the only problem with that is we don't have any.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to be here, but it could be other places. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they could. Iceland's unique because they have like such volcanic activity that they could power the entire country off that. We don't have volcanoes around the corner everywhere.
But we got to see like what we do have that we can use. We got
wind.
Like that,
we got nuclear power. I think we talked about this recently. Why there's a very big stigma against nuclear power because of like the bombs and Chernobyl, what happened there, but and what happened in Japan with Fukushima. But for the most part, nuclear power is majority safe.
We're running on it right now here in New York.
Yeah, and they're trying to shut that down. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay, I understand the argument of it shouldn't be built. Like maybe a nuclear power plant shouldn't be built right next to New York City.
Yeah, it should be like in the middle of Idaho where there's nobody for miles and miles.
Right. You could build them out in the middle of nowhere and then just run the lines to everywhere, and they create a tremendous amount of energy, and they're a lot cleaner than gas or coal or whatever. It's just you have to figure out how to dispose of the nuclear waste, but it's way more efficient. And that's like I said, again, that's like Dan Crenshaw's idea. Use whatever you can to turn the tide against climate change. You can't just be narrow-minded and say we can only use solar. Solar energy is probably the best option in the future, right? Because the sun pours so much energy over the earth. I think every day the sun coats the earth in more energy than human beings have used in their entire existence in one day. Yeah. Right? So if we could somehow efficiently harness all that energy, we'd be good for the rest of our existence. Yeah. But we don't know how to do that yet. So we need to use what we can before we destroy this entire fucking planet.
Elon, get on that.
Yeah, definitely. You were talking about real quick. You were talking about the Paris Agreement, climate change agreement, and then we'll go back to Pence.
I know exactly what Harris said.
Yeah, Pence said that we lowered our CO2 emissions more than other countries in the Paris Agreement, even though we're not in the Paris Agreement, which is true. It's not 100% true. Some of the countries in the agreement have reduced by a higher rate, but we still have done it without even being in this accord. Yeah. So
we don't need to be in it.
I don't think we need to be in it. I agree. It's not the end of the world if we're not in it, because we might, lower our shit by innovation, by getting better at stuff in a way.
Yeah. You know what the problem with the Green New Deal is, and I don't know the Green New Deal, I'm sorry, the Paris Accords. It's like a climate change for NATO. You know what I mean? Like, America has the largest fucking military, so we dish out for the rest of the nations in NATO, which I saw something in the notes, too, that, more people have been paying their share. But it's the same idea, just in a different platform now.
That's a great... I never thought of it that way. That's a great point.
You know what I mean? Like, if we could do this on our own, who's getting really hurt? Because that's the big thing you hear from, like, all the people who hate Trump, that like, oh, we're not going to be in the Paris Accords. He wants to ruin the world, blah, 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 shit like that. Like, but we're still doing it on our own. Like,
yeah.
What's the
through
point
innovation,
now?
Just naturally. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a great, dude, that is a great point, that it's like the NATO agreement. Yeah. And I did mention that here.
I know it's in a different note.
But, let's get into that because you mentioned it.
But one thing I wanted to say, you said this earlier. So you weren't interested in what Kamala had to say.
It's not that I wasn't interested in it. But I knew exactly what she was going to say.
And I wrote down here, this is the conspiracy in me, but like, when Hillary lost, we all said, who's the next chosen one? Joe Biden. We knew Joe Biden, no matter what, was going to be the front runner for this. She's just another establishment shill. You know what I mean? Just like we didn't have trust for Hillary. I don't know how much you trust her, because we know
Hillary?
she's
not at all.
Well, and also now Kamala.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a Hillary 2.0 as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And it's almost to the point now where all you need to do is step back and look at it, and you could call her shots. It's the establishment. You know what's coming. You know her speech before she even has to speak it.
Yes.
This
me taking almost notes exclusively about Mike Pence happened subconsciously.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to not take notes about Kamala. It's just me being always looking into this shit. She said nothing interesting to me, because she said everything I've heard over and over and over again. Orange guy bad, orange guy don't do this, orange guy don't do that.
He failed the economy.
Right. Yeah. And I thought, I'll say right away, I thought Pence definitely won the vice presidential debate. I'm not saying he won it by a lot. I feel like he won by a slim margin, but he won because he came with a lot more facts and a lot less like cookie cutter prepared statements. I even wrote it at the beginning, dude. When the fucking debate first started, they had literally, as soon as the debate started, Kamala came with "I'm speaking, Mr. Vice President," because he barely interrupted her. Like, she was saying something and he like mumbled, and she you could tell she was waiting for him the first moment he made some sort of slight interruption to make "I'm a strong woman and I'm not going to tolerate you interrupting me." And it was so just planned.
I don't know if you saw it, but because you might have been away already, Ben Shapiro posted it on his Facebook on how people, since Pence won, like, they obviously had to spin it, and right away called him a sexist. That's what I said. I was like, that's why I didn't want Kamala Harris to end up being the front runner, because
you can't win in a debate.
If Trump was to debate her the way he debated Joe Biden, like, this is a woman you're talking, like, they wouldn't even be able to get around that fact and get down to business.
Yeah. I'm just laughing at one of the notes I put. There was yes. Kamala, throughout the debate, she regurgitated this line also a lot. She said she will not be lectured on her record. I'm sorry. Is this not a debate?
Yeah, that's about your record?
That's exactly what a debate is about. Yeah. You say this about me, and I say this about you, and I come after your record, and you come after my record. That was like her. Yeah. When she had nothing to say, she would just say, "I'm not going to be lectured on my record."
Just like Joe Biden would say, "That's not true, man. Oh, that's not. Your son got $3 million from Russia. That's not true. You did this. That's not like."
Yeah. Right. Can I have some
video
nuance?
and here like you didn't do a quid pro quo in Ukraine and Trump got impeached for it? Here's the video. Don't tell me it's not true. There was constantly in the first debate how many times we saw they were like saying that's not true. We're like, no, it's been proven. Like,
yeah.
Ridiculous. So where do we want to go with the NATO? You found the note?
Let's see. Yeah, I wrote some notes about NATO.
Yeah, just go to the next slide then. Whatever.
There was so much crazy shit here, dude.
I love how he has it in red.
Yeah,
the fly enters.
The fly. Yeah, that was pathetic, man. As I'm sure everybody. The only thing I'm sure most people heard about this debate is that a fly landed on Mike Pence's head.
Yep.
It was for like 30 seconds. I didn't even really notice it because I was trying to pay attention to what was going on. Like that matters.
I think that fly has a Twitter account with like 1 million followers now.
I'm sure. That's how broken our society is right now. You had a debate where the two candidates actually spoke about shit that mattered, and all people fucking thought about was a fly landing on a guy's head. You know? It's sad. It makes a meme. It makes absolutely disheartening.
Makes a meme.
Forget about NATO. I want to go into Breonna Taylor and that whole thing because this made me laugh.
Treading lightly, I see.
Not Breonna Taylor. I'm talking about Kamala Harris.
Right.
So they asked Mike Pence and Breonna Taylor and Kamala Harris if justice was done. So Harris said that justice was not done, and then she pivoted to George Floyd, saying that we need police reform and a ban on chokeholds, a national registry for bad cops or something like that, to get rid of private prisons, cash bail, and decriminalize marijuana. I agree with some of those things, you know.
Decriminalize marijuana.
Decriminalize marijuana.
This whole get rid of private prisons, yes, people shouldn't really be profiting off of prisons. And then also, like, Pablo Escobar had a private prison, and that's why he had, like, a party the entire time he was incarcerated. And I'm sorry to just jump in on you on this, but, like, this eliminating cash bail and bail is extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. We have friends that are in the police department. I have family. You have family that are in the police department. And there's no bail for these crimes. Listen, I understand if maybe you got like a DWI, you shouldn't have to pay a bail to get out, or if you did a non-violent offense or you were found with a little blow in your pocket or something like that, you don't get a cash bail. But you can literally, in the state of New York, stand outside your neighbor's house with a knife and scream, "I'm going to kill you," until the police show up, arrest you, they bring you down, and then they release you. And you know exactly who called the cops on you. Your neighbors. Who are you protecting here? Who are you protecting? Because now you just got an angry person, even angrier, and let them right back out onto the street.
Yeah.
This whole no bail shit is completely in favor of the criminal. And you could say it's based on systematic racism, whatever. You could give me 1 million reasons why I'm wrong and this is right and justice and moral. I can promise you the day you become a victim is the day you're going to agree with me.
Logically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe we should eliminate bail for certain things, like you did something dumb. Yeah. You didn't like really hurt anybody.
You broke a window at a bar and got arrested for it.
Okay. You know, like, you have to pay bail for that?
No.
Yeah.
You
fucked up.
Yeah.
Let you out and you go along your way. You know, since you mentioned the systematic racist argument, they went into this.
Yes.
So, just to be clear, Pence on Breonna Taylor, he said that, you know, for Kamala Harris as a former prosecutor to accuse the grand jury of this case to get everything wrong is remarkable, right? Because she was a former prosecutor for this, right? And then Pence goes on to say that George Floyd, there's no excuse whatsoever. This comes from Mike Pence for what happened to George Floyd. So
we
right
said that from the start.
From the start, right? And that's the vice president who everybody accuses of being a racist and whatnot, right? He's saying there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd, and justice will be served, which I believe it will, right?
Yes.
The guy who did that to George Floyd.
Justice
I hope it does,
yeah.
because he deserves to be thrown under the jail, as I've said before.
Yeah.
But there's also,
you know, he made bail too, I think, last week.
Did he?
Somebody paid his $1 million bail.
Really?
Yep. Don't know who, but I'm pretty sure he caught bail.
But then Mike Pence goes on to say that the assumption from the Biden-Harris campaign that America is systematically racist is a great insult to the men and women who serve in law enforcement. And this is the main part, that when Tim Scott, who is a black senator, right, proposed a police reform bill, Kamala Harris walked out of the room, right, and then she filibustered it. If you're not familiar with what a filibuster is, you are blocking a bill from being voted on by standing there and talking for as physically long as you possibly can. You don't even have to talk about anything that's relevant. You just talk, it's like you're running out the clock. Yeah. You're trying to block the thing from happening. So a black man proposed a police reform bill, but because he was Republican, Harris, who's claiming that everything is racist and whatnot, would not support it whatsoever. So how can you trust what this person says?
Establishment.
You can't. It's everything. Everything is bipartisan. Everything. Even an actual black person putting forward a proposition to fix things because he's not the right black person. No good. No good.
Your life only matters if you support the right side, and at least the fact that she walked out of the room. Let's look at it. Maybe make a few changes that we can make this more partisanship. But nope, we're just going to filibuster it. And I'm pretty sure we brought that up on previous podcasts because it was something truly insane to see happen. And it just shows, like, I'm not going to say it shows, but it really puts the Democratic Party in such a negative light that you have this moral standard of who you are, but like, the second, you're on the wrong team, fuck. The same thing with Candace Owens. I know you personally don't like her, but like
I don't like her. Just
but you don't agree with her, fine. But like, there's a strong black woman who has different views, and they despise her. Right? You know what I mean?
They treat them as if they're not a minority person or a black person because they have
which is the way they should be treating them to begin with. But like, they take it out of party lines. They say you need to worry about color all the time until you're a Republican. Like, it's ridiculous.
Or you know what, dude? You ever heard of the term like you're an Uncle Tom?
Yes.
Because you're a black person who was a Republican back in the day, they would call them an Uncle Tom. You're still a black person. Yeah. Is your opinion worth less because you don't take a certain narrative? I mean, I always don't get that. I don't get that, and I hate to talk on something I don't live or know about that well, but I don't get that.
The most remarkable and by far one of the most racist things I've ever seen the Democratic Party do is just assume that every person of color is a Democrat. Do you understand how, first off, just play the game of law of average, just statistically, it could never be that way. But for an entire political party to actually believe this, and now don't get me wrong, black support and minority support for Republicans have always been low, but to say every single, person, every minority is Democratic is insane. Insanely racist to just lump them all into everybody, one group. Insane.
In any way, shape, or form. That's a ridiculous thing to do. I want to continue on this segment between the two of them because this was one of the most just fascinating segments of the entire thing. After they mentioned Tim Scott, that's when the fly landed on Pence's head.
Send in the flies.
Right? So after Pence put her on blast for walking out of the room on Tim Scott's bill, Harris countered saying that she'll not be lectured on enforcing the law in her country, going back to that line again. And then she went on to say how Trump not condemning white supremacists, the usual accusations, how Trump's a white supremacist, the
establishment speech.
Right? Everyone knows what that's about.
Hold on. Just for everyone out there, maybe we'll even put a link. There is actual YouTube videos of Trump. They're compilation videos of Trump condemning white supremacy. Like, just because it's a new election, he was asked all these questions in the last election, and he said he condemned them. He didn't want the Grand Wizard or whatever from the KKK supporting him or endorsing him. He didn't want that. He said that racism is evil across the board. Just do a research. Find videos. You will find them. Trust me.
Dude, Mike Pence gave the perfect answer, and this is why. Because he did this time and time again during the debate. I think he won the debate because he used nuance and he used like common sense answers, which they never do, these politicians, right? Mike Pence countered saying the media selectively edits these remarks, saying that Trump has condemned the KKK. And on top of that, Trump has Jewish grandchildren. How the fuck could he be a
Nazi,
Ku Klux Klan Nazi, yet allow Jewish folk into his family? That makes no fucking sense. And then Mike Pence went on to say that Harris has prosecuted blacks as a district attorney in California 19 times more likely for minor drug offenses, and she increased the disproportionate incarceration of blacks, which we covered in our vice president episode, right? Harris, this is the funniest part of the entire debate, in my opinion. Harris countered that by saying what she did as DA is a model of what the country should do. I literally wrote LMAO in my notes. So what we should do is incarcerate blacks 19 times more for minor drug offenses and increase their disproportionate incarceration. She literally countered with that right after, saying what she did is what we should do as the.
And this is the woman that's going to run the country when Joe can't do it.
Yeah, she then went on to say she was the first to institute a body camera requirement, and that implicit bias does exist. She will not be lectured on her record.
Once again.
Because
her record is garbage.
Yep.
Her record's garbage, and she will agree with whatever agrees to the polls. Whatever's going to help the polls is her new stance. Didn't she flip-flop on fracking as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that was something that Pence kept pressing her on, that her and Biden are going to ban fracking. And they were like, no, it was never been said. I looked it up, and they said it. Yeah, they've said it multiple times that they're going to ban fracking. If people don't know what fracking is, it's getting rocks out of the ground, and you squeeze the fuck out of them, and oil comes out. Yeah. And it's like a huge industry in America. It employs a lot of people. It's the reason why gas prices are super low the past couple of years as opposed to, remember like 10 years ago, gas was like $4.
Or like when it was under Obama,
Yeah, that was because fracking was new, and now we figured out how to do fracking, and it's driven the price down. Yeah, man, I mean...
Listen, Trump is crazy, but Biden and Harris are just establishment puppets. They're more dangerous than Trump is. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't agree with me, and that's fine. But you don't need to love Trump, but back up a little bit. I actually heard on a podcast the other day. Mm-hmm. They were like, it's strange to see how voters act, because like when you go to one of these, Trump rallies or the Trump parades with the cars and the trucks or the boats or whatever, people are there to support and show their love for Trump. But a lot of people who are voting for Biden are only voting for Biden because it's not Trump. There's no real, in his base, there's no real enthusiasm of, I love Trump. And it was funny, too, because so we got promoted on a friend's page called Babes for Trump. Check them out. I'm going to have to let them know we shout them out. And I found a lot of these like crazy Trump support pages, and on different, like on my personal account, on the podcast account, and the podcast account's pretty biased, I'd say. So I know my account shows me a lot more right-wing stuff, but I search for like Babes for Biden and stuff like that. And like just like funny things, mm-hmm. like maybe there's sexy chicks in like Biden t-shirts and bikinis. There's nothing. There's literally nothing out there of that manner. Now, I'm not saying that like Trump's a better president or like it's crazier that he has this, but like I find it odd. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there was like some crazy backing for Obama. You know what I mean? Like
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
He was way more, people were way more enthusiastic.
Yeah, way more. He was definitely more popular than Biden. I just find it so strange that like it doesn't even matter at this point. Like, no, I'm just going to do Biden. Mm-hmm. Fuck it.
Trump is such a polarizing figure that he's both sides.
Yeah.
It's either you love him or you're just voting against him. Yeah. It doesn't even matter who the fucking person is.
Though, I do know one or two people, somebody I work with, I won't say who, like, he voted for Trump last time, and, like, he's just so disgusted with, like, he must have really got sucked into CNN, because he's like, I can't vote for him again now. Like, but what did he do that was so bad? He's like, COVID. COVID's all his fault. Like, he fucked this country.
Whatever, man. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
All right, man. Yeah. No, they are. Like, I let it go. I really don't try and get in arguments with people at all.
That's not what we're about.
Yeah, and I just, all right, that's what you believe, man. Like, it's so crazy, though.
Some people are just so polarized, dude. When we were away, I overheard some of our friends talking about their parents and how some of their parents are like, I don't buy Nike anymore because...
I don't buy Nike anymore.
I just don't get that mindset. Or they don't watch like Robert De Niro films anymore. I mean, why? I get it. Like, you know, Robert De Niro doesn't like Trump, but you're gonna deprive yourself of a funny movie or a classic. Goodfellas is not good anymore now because
I know.
Because Robert De Niro,
you loved him for decades.
Doesn't like Trump. You know, why would you deprive yourself of something you enjoyed because somebody doesn't align with you politically? It's like a stupid. Maybe Nike makes more sense than like not watching a Robert De Niro film.
I'll put it this way: like I watched Robert De Niro's last movie, that the what was the mafia movie he did on Netflix? That was fantastic.
The Irishman.
The Irishman was great. I didn't want to watch it, but I wasn't gonna miss it either.
Right.
But he's just one person, so he's entitled to his political views, whether it's crazy or not. But Nike is a billion-dollar organization that never needed to get involved at all.
You're right.
Never needed to get involved at all. And then on top of it, I don't have any sources. Like I said, I never knew we were going to talk about this. So, you know, but Nike even said, like, they make so much money, they don't care if they exclude, like, conservatives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I get that because, like, they have expensive shit. And, of course, I go to this you know, Foot Locker and shit, and I see a pair of Nikes that I like. But, like, you were so big, you didn't need to pick a side, and this is my only way to punish you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that makes more sense because it's not a person, it's a corporation, and you are choosing to just not buy their product.
Yes.
You're kind of voting.
They chose to exclude me, and they chose to say, we don't need your money, so then I won't give you my money.
I'm just trying to make a point of how polarized everybody is. It's like people won't watch a movie because somebody in it doesn't like their guy, or vice versa. You know, vice versa. I'm sure it goes the other way too. You know, didn't they cut out Trump out of Home Alone in Canada or something? Trump had a small cameo in Home Alone 3.
Home Alone 2. Yeah,
they cut it out in Canada.
At the hotel.
I mean, come on, you're gonna.
He was the only person who helped a lost child in New York. Okay, no one questioned that this kid got a fucking limo and a cheese pizza all to himself to go to a fucking toy store that was down the street. No one questioned that. Trump was the only one that gave him good advice. Yeah, the lobby's that way.
That's a good point.
The guy just wants to help.
What do you want to go into next, buddy? You want to go into we got the Supreme Court, we got China, which I got a lot of points on.
Let's do China because you got points. Then I want to do Supreme Court.
China. Here we go.
Because I did I unfortunately didn't. My life's been a little bit too crazy. I haven't watched the VP debate. But after this, I also found out that they fucking canned the third debate.
Really?
The committee that runs the debates the morning after Pence and Kamala at like 7 o'clock in the morning didn't notify like the Biden campaign, bullshit, and they didn't notify the Trump campaign, and they were just like, oh, you know what? Next debate is going to be viral, and Trump's like, no, it's not, and they were like, all right, no debate.
Oh, then. I see. The third debate. Hey, maybe that means that Joe Rogan will actually get his chance and add the extra debate in there.
You know, I would. Trump, I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not. Trump will 100% be there. Yeah, I would be shocked to see Biden show up.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to can one debate, that leaves the door open for an extra one, right? And I was having this thought a lot during this vice presidential debate, which was 1,000 times better than Trump's and Biden's, like I was saying. But even then, there wasn't enough time. A lot of the time, they gave the candidates 2 minutes to answer the questions, right? And then most of the time, what Pence and Kamala both did was they would use the time on the next question to continue answering the question before, because there's not enough time. And the whole shit was 90 minutes. It's way too rushed, and you can't rush something like this, right? Like, I was actually enjoying this debate because they were telling me things that actually made sense.
Isn't it amazing that one of the most important conversations in our country's history is only 90 minutes long?
90 minutes. And it was rushed, and I noticed that, right? Give Joe Rogan 5 fucking hours to have these two people.
Oh, Biden can never last that long. I'm sorry.
Or even these two. Even these two. And just talk, you know what I mean? And we'd learn a lot. Maybe not everybody, because nobody's got that kind of attention span, but I could have fucking sat there and watched this debate for 5 more hours after 90 minutes, because I enjoyed it. They were actually talking about shit that matters.
All right, so on to
let's go on to China. This is where Mike Pence ate Kamala Harris's lunch. Right. They talked about the trade war with China. This is going to be a little bit boring, but I just want to point it out that Harris said that we lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs because of this trade war that we're having with China. And says by the end of this term, America would have lost more jobs than any other administration in the history of the country, right? Maybe that's going to be true, but that's totally has nothing to do with the trade war with China. No. And that also is totally omitting the fact that the reason why that might happen is because of coronavirus. And
that came from China.
That came from China, and the reason why we lost so many jobs is because of, again, coronavirus. And a lot of these Democrat states, cities, governors, etc., have remained in this lockdown period, right? So it's not Trump who has direct power over if people could go right back to work in every single instance. It's a lot of Democrats. So I'm rigging this against you to make it look like it's your fault that we lost everything, and then I'm saying that it's your fault. That's exactly what's happening here. So it's just a ridiculous fucking point.
It's a merry-go-round of stupidity.
Yeah, it is. It is. Where's my other China point?
I have them all right here.
And then, according, I think, and again, going back to the 300,000 manufacturing jobs lost because of the trade war, I did some fact checking myself, and according to factcheck.org, Harris falsely claimed Trump's China war cost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. The U.S. actually gained 146,000 factory jobs during the first 18 months after the tariffs, which caused this war, to take effect. So it's not even true.
Shocking that we had more American jobs when we stopped shipping American jobs out of America.
And then Pence had his best line of the entire debate. He goes, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never even fought that war. Yeah. And it's true. It's 100% true.
Because Obama gave all those jobs to China.
If there's one
he did.
If there's one thing about Trump I appreciate the most, I don't like him, right? But if there's one thing I appreciate the most out of him, it's his stance, and the way he's treated China is exactly the way needed to be treated. Yeah. Fucking exactly. Right? So I appreciate that from him. So to say that they need to be, what? And
you're not going to get that with Biden. He's a little cheerleader for fucking China.
And look,
he's an employee of China.
When you fight a trade war, you're going to have losses too on your side. But that's what it's going to take to fix our fucking problems.
Things got to change
with them. You know what I mean? Let's see.
That's almost kind of like a new age conservative view coming from Kamala. Like, oh, you lost 300,000 jobs. We always, you know what I mean? Like, she was conservative in her views in not wanting to change things with China. Like, the way they set up, like, you know what I mean?
Be conservative, like, no, let's just continue.
Yeah, we got to keep it this way.
We can't change anything, right? Yeah. Instead of taking, like Trump did, like a radical change for our relationship with China, which what was actually needed, because they steal our fucking IPs. They like devalue their currency. They do a lot of shady shit. We've discussed at length.
They have no rules,
and how they're stealing our data, and they could use that against us. They are a rogue country that's very powerful and has a lot of money and whatnot, and they're looking to fuck us at every turn. We can't just allow that shit to happen. Right. They also went into, let's see, they went into like the coronavirus bans and whatnot with China. And Pence says straight up, China is to blame for COVID because they didn't play it straight. They didn't let our personnel into China to research COVID until late February. I remember I was at work in October, a little bit before Halloween, with a coworker of mine on Twitter watching videos of Wuhan and the outbreak there, and them spraying fucking,
oh yeah, I remember
disinfecting into people's faces, into the houses and whatnot in October, right? So they were covering it up since basically back then, and Pence is saying they didn't let in our own scientists to try and help figure out what's going on until February. And then he goes on to say that Joe Biden opposed the decision to ban that travel from China at the outset, which Trump did, saying it was xenophobic, which he said. Yep. So you're saying Orange Man caused coronavirus. He didn't do anything about it, but the things he did do, you said he was a racist for doing it. It just
and this idea also occurred on me recently, and it's funny that the Democrats have not brought this up as we've gotten closer to the election. The impeachment. You know why they're not bringing it up? Obviously, because it was, yes, he got impeached, but they didn't get him out of office.
Bullshit. The whole thing was bullshit.
And everybody knows it was bullshit. So they don't even talk about that anymore. But you also understand what Trump had to overcome. All these Democrats, and I'm sorry, but that's who is calling this out, saying that COVID is Trump's fault and he did too little too late. So you mean to tell me while this man was being impeached by you, the Democratic Party, you were going to allow him to shut down the country so we didn't get infected? So really, you're going to impeach him and let him close the borders at the same time? I would love to have seen how that was going to play off.
Dude.
And let's not. I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I'm sorry, but let's not forget that Nancy Pelosi held the articles of impeachment to, I kid you not, the day the first COVID case in America hit the news. Then she turned him in. She held on to him for what, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
She sat on him, yeah.
Not shade. You want this man out of office, so you sit on these articles for 3 weeks. Why? Because it didn't last 3 weeks. Why? Because there was no COVID to roll into. I'm not even going to get into it how it was planned. Come on. Like, he was really going to shut down the country during being impeached. Okay, yeah.
The reality is China is to blame for this. And as Americans, we should have united behind that, right? Instead, we're so divided, we fought amongst ourselves. And these other countries are laughing at us because of that, right? Another country, maybe they did this shit on purpose. Who knows, right? Yeah. They fucked because they knew we were so weak and divided right now that it would tear us apart, which it has. And this was also another hysterical fucking point in this debate. Kamala Harris said that a recent poll of other world leaders holds President Xi Jinping in a higher regard than Trump. I burst out laughing when I heard that because Xi Jinping is literally responsible for fucking genocide right now
and
going
slavery
on in China. As we've covered again before on this podcast, the Uyghur Muslims are being killed just same way Germany killed Jews in the Holocaust. But and I'm not saying Kamala Harris is lying about this poll. I 100% believe her that the other world leaders hold President Xi in higher regards because a lot of the other leaders around the world are super woke, left-wing, liberal, whatever people. And, you know, they don't want to anger China. It's just, that's fucking outrageous. You say what you want, as I've said before, about Trump. He's a dick, you know? Does he really care about people?
He puts America first.
But he puts America first. He's not shipping people off in trains to be gassed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The media have you believe that, though.
They would. Meanwhile, the guy who really is doing that is being polled higher than Trump. Yeah. Come on. Fuck out of here.
Pathetic. So let's go into the Supreme Court because that's a pretty hot
topic. It's going on
right
now,
yes.
too.
So ACB is being questioned as we. I'm probably done by now, but she was questioned for the past 2 days. She's given a couple of zingers. She's speaking from the heart. They're of course giving her a hard time, and I think Cory Booker called her a sexist or something today. It was pretty weird. What this I just saw the memes about it before. I didn't get to read the article, but should be interesting. Maybe I'm biased, but I don't see what's so wrong with her. And she didn't say she was going to overturn Roe v. Wade. They asked her it a dozen different ways, and you know.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yes, she's Catholic.
Why that's a problem is beyond me.
Joe Biden's Catholic.
Yeah.
AOC is Catholic. You know what I mean? They are just, the Democrats are just assuming because they're using it as a tool, right? A political tool. Because she's Catholic, they're trying to spin the narrative that she's going to overturn Roe v. Wade and rule as a justice from a Catholic mindset. She herself, anytime any one of these questions is asked, her response has been, I'm not going to comment on what I would do in a case because I'm not the justice yet, and I'm not going to I need to see the case before I make a judgment. She's not trying to comment on a hypothetical situation. At the same time, I feel like the whole thing is bullshit because like I've said before, the Republicans didn't allow Obama's person to be confirmed for the same reasons, and now they're trying to rush their person in. But to separate that hypocrisy from what's going on in the actual hearings, it's just bullshit. They're trying to do whatever they can to stop her or to make her look bad to the public. Asking about Roe v. Wade. Is she going to overturn that? I don't know. I feel like that's such an indoctrinated thing at this point. Why would they overturn that?
That's one. And two, she's only one vote. Do you not have faith in the rest of your Supreme Court justices? Mm-hmm. Just because and it's just more polarization just because there's going to be more Republicans on the Supreme Court now, we need to make everybody think. It's just more fear mongering. It doesn't mean. I said this from the start when I saw people flying off the handle that she's going to overturn Roe v. Like, nothing's even overturned yet. Like I said, like, if she showed up on Twitter today and was like, "Fuck Roe, it's out of here," like,
right, then I would.
We have a problem here. Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
She hasn't.
Yeah. So,
I mean, in the debate, let's see. In the debate, they were asking actually about something that you wanted to talk a lot about the Supreme Court packing. Whatnot, right? We could talk a little bit about what me and you were texting this morning about Biden. Remember, you texted me, and he was telling me that Biden said, "What did you say exactly?"
This is what scares me the most about someone like Biden and who is establishment. They've been floating around the answer of, "Are you going to pack the Supreme Court?" So now, basically, the way to retaliate that Trump is going to get a second or third second Supreme Court justice pick, and that there's going to theoretically be more Republicans on the Supreme Court than Democrats. So if that happens, then Kamala and Biden are just going to add as many Democrats as they need to the Supreme Court. If Biden wins, they're just gonna, if they need 3 more chairs to outnumber like Republicans, they're going to add 3 more Supreme Court justices. Right. So that's what packing the court means. This is a very dangerous thing to do. Now, nothing against being a Democrat, but we have a 2-party system for a reason. This is very dangerous and can change the face of the nation for decades. And just because you're Democrat doesn't necessarily mean you might even agree with everything. You might wake up one day and be like, no, this isn't right. But now, if the Supreme Court's packed, there's nothing stopping you. You know, if they want to get rid of the Electoral College, poof, gone, because they got
that can't happen because all the states would have to
True. Okay,
vote on
maybe.
it,
All right, so I'm sorry about that. But but when it comes down to issues with the Supreme Court, they almost have like an in for the next 4 years to just push along whatever they need. This is really dangerous. And now you're taking something that is supposed to be a non-biased organization, making it biased, and wholeheartedly making it biased. So Trump will never be in office again. Like it's dangerous and scary. But what I said this morning was, what people need to sit back. I get it. You don't like Trump, but at least like Trump gave us his short list of who he wants other than the Supreme Court: Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all believe that the American people don't deserve to know if Biden plans to pack the Supreme Court. Now, I know you sent me the one article today, and we'll talk about that, but in a interview, there's a video. He straight up said, "You will find out the day after I'm elected president if I'm going to pack the Supreme Court." People, I get it. Orange man bad. Why are you voting for a person that you don't even know what his plan is? It's 50-50. You are gambling, not with just orange man. Got to get the orange man out of the office. You're gambling with your own future. You need to know these facts. We put these politicians under such microscopes to make sure that our future and our views are secure. But we got to know what we're going to be offered here. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, even
I agree.
Listen, like I said this, a while back, and it'll be shocking. I don't know if it'll be shocking at all, but like, if it was Trump v. Bernie back in 2016, I would have had to really play my odds. You know what I mean? I would have really had to see what Bernie what Bernie had to offer, what Trump had to offer, and it would have really been important to me. I never trusted or liked Hillary, so it was an easy decision for me. But like, if I was in the same situation right now and I'm on the fence, if you're not going to give me the answer to a question I have, then you lose me as a voter.
I'll be honest with you. I still haven't made my decision, because it's not that, like, I have my ballot, right? Because I live in Connecticut and I did the absentee ballot, right? I haven't filled it out and sent it in yet. I don't know why. Like, it's just, I'm not sold on either of these guys 100%.
Yeah, but you also have the green guy and the libertarian dude, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to win. Yeah. And I voted for Gary Johnson last time, and, it was a waste of a vote.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be amazing that, like,
it's not going to happen.
Election, like, just
it's not going to happen. Don't even bring it up.
Like the silent majority the whole time was like, fuck both of you.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But, like, I know what you're saying. I'm just not sold on anything, you know? I might vote for Mickey Mouse, maybe. Who knows?
How can you... Fine, you don't know what to do yet. You're on the fence, but, like, how can you as a politician look somebody in the camera and be like, the American people don't deserve to know until after they give me what I want?
Right, I agree.
You're going to hold me hostage to figure out the rest of your plan? Just like the Joe... Oh, we're not going to do the Green New Deal. We're going to do the Joe Biden plan. Mm-hmm. What's the Joe Biden plan?
You're just reminding me of my point was, like, I haven't decided 100% yet, and, like, I'm kind of giving Joe Biden a chance to win me over, and he ain't doing it. He ain't doing it at all. At all. You know, and Trump ain't doing it either, but Trump's doing it a little bit more than Joe Biden is.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this, right? The Supreme Court, because this is something that I actually thought Kamala Harris made a great point on in this debate.
I must have missed this point when I read it.
Was something that me and you talked about after Biden and Trump's debate. Do you remember how they brought up how Trump brought up that Obama and Biden left a record number of judges
close to
not
300.
Confirmed?
Yeah, because they wanted Hillary to pack the...
And me and you were wondering why. Yeah. Why was that? Why does Trump have a record number of judge appointees? Well, Kamala Harris kind of answered my question, and it turns out that the reason why there was so many judge vacancies is because Mitch McConnell blocked anything that Obama tried to...
Okay.
Because the president not only nominates the Supreme Court, but down the line, all those other federal judges, the president nominates, right? So during that time, it was during the same time that Obama was in his last term, and he had all these vacancies to fill, and Mitch McConnell's like, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't seeing any of your judges. I ain't confirming anything. And it built up to a record number because Mitch McConnell and the Republicans just, the same thing they did to Merrick Garland, where they just didn't give him a hearing. They did it to every other judge. So that built up and became a record.
Interesting.
In comes Trump. Now Mitch McConnell is willing to play ball, obviously, because he's got a Republican president, and Trump goes down the line and nominates everybody, and they confirm him. So that's why Trump had a record number of nominations. Kamala Harris.
The more you know.
Yeah, Kamala Harris made a good point. Not one of them was black. Good point. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we just nominate one as a throwaway because there has to be a black one? No. Every single one should be.
Yeah, is she asking for a token black guy?
Kind of, right? Every single person should be nominated on their own merits. At the same time, you mean to tell me there wasn't, out of a record number of people, there wasn't one qualified black judge? There had to be.
Probably, yeah. I would imagine.
Weird.
So
weird.
Statistically, yeah.
Statistically speaking, right.
Yeah.
So
no, it is odd. It's just, that's where it goes back to, one reason why I can't believe that Biden actually really won all these primaries, but everybody doesn't want old white rich people running the country, and all you pick is old white rich people to run the country. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on. You dug your own grave.
Right. If they really wanted a more representative person of, Democrats and what people want, they should have went with Bernie. Bernie had
another old white guy, but they should have went with Tulsi.
Yeah, I agree with that. But she had zero chance. She's too out there for them. You want to move on to one of the next topics in the debate, the peaceful transition of power, maybe?
Do we really want to go over this again? Did they have any zingers? Let's just hit the zingers in there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you want to talk about the peaceful transition of power, we could talk about, John Brennan's notes.
Go ahead. You want to go into that? I don't really know much about that, so go. I without doubt want to hit the final question of the debate, but go ahead. You want to talk about John Brennan? Go for it, bro.
So, if you guys noticed last week while you were away, it was something I wanted to tell you, but you didn't want to hear it, which is probably better off because it got annoying and I got sucked into it like an idiot. But when Trump kind of got out of the hospital and was good, you guys probably saw on his Twitter last week that he was just calling for the indictments of people like Robert Mueller and John Brennan, and that Hillary Clinton is going to go down. And he even mentioned this stuff during their debate that some nasty stuff about Hillary just came out today, and that we have you on tape. We caught you all red-handed. So this letter, so some more Russia documents were declassified, and they were sent to Senator Lindsey Graham, and they were handwritten notes from John Brennan, who at the time was he was either in charge of the CIA or the CIA, and he had handwritten notes that Hillary Clinton had devised a plan to make a Russia scandal, saying that Trump is working with Russia to win the election, so it would take the heat off of her email scandal. And this is his handwritten notes. And on top of that, Obama and Biden were briefed on this. John Breslin right away went on to CNN or Washington Post, whatever, one of their little, propaganda lackeys, and said, no, there was, I briefed Obama and Biden on the fact that this story is circulating, that Russia's trying to say that Hillary's cooking it up. He deflected the whole situation, but it's pretty cut and clear. Now everybody's going to say well, then how come nobody's being arrested yet? It still kind of needs to be 100% proven. Just because there's notes doesn't mean that they have actual evidence that Hillary cooked up this plan. But it's pretty interesting, and more classified documents are going to be released soon. There's apparently tape, there's apparently videos, there's apparently comm links that, side underground chats that they've used. Apparently, they used a lot of Star Wars stuff to communicate with each other.
Code names? Or?
Yeah, like code names. And then also, I think one of the big things was they found in an Xbox communication center, on Star Wars, that's how they were communicating.
I've heard of shit like that.
That no one would really look there. Everybody's checking emaurs and stuff, but you don't check your kid's Xbox for messages on Xbox Live.
I've heard of that shit before. Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff is coming out, and that's why Trump went on such a rampage last week, saying Hillary needs to go down, that Robert Mueller needs to be arrested, and all this stuff. And that's also why he said he completely endorses and requests all documents to Russia files and Hillary Clinton's emails to be unredacted and released to the public, because we need to show what the corruption level is. Hail Mary pass, miracle season, would drain the swamp. It's got to be proven, but this would be the plug to drain the swamp. This would take down Hillary, Obama, Biden. That's why he had the tweet saying, how can Biden even be allowed to be running for president right now? And Ukraine, there was a hearing in Ukraine, and Biden is criminally being investigated in the Ukraine. I think it's come out that they paid him upwards of $900,000 in bribery and shit. Ukraine apparently in court really dropped the ball on Biden. How am I going to get Ukraine court records? I don't, you know what I mean? So it's all hearsay right now, but it'd be interesting to see this unfold. This would really be earth shattering. And this is, if you think about it, Trump's got one solid promise that he hasn't kept yet: lock her up. And if these notes could link Hillary to the whole Russiagate scandal, and Obama and Biden were in on it, the world would be rocked. I don't even think people would buy it. I really don't even think people would believe it, to be honest with you. It's almost too hard to believe.
When it comes to things like this, you've gone on rants before in the past.
Yeah.
I'm cynical, not because I don't believe you or believe that these things are real. Nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's why I'm on the same page of you, as I get excited when I see this stuff, and oh boy, I said this to somebody. I have been suspicious of Hillary Clinton. I've hated Hillary Clinton longer than I've been a Trump supporter. I've always thought she was the devil on earth. I've always known she was the queen of corruption, and I've always had my my suspicions about her. So to see something like this really got me hooked and stuff. And she's the one person I would love to see go down, because it's just every time she has to go to court, so many people die around her. Just
it's true.
Bing, you can't Google it. You got to Bing it. Bing Clinton body count. They're up to like, they have more hits than the Beatles right now. Like, so I've always had my suspicions it'd be something crazy to see. But as you say, like, even talking to my father about it, like, this is all great. There's handwritten notes and there's redact documents from the CIA and the FBI. Nothing ever happens, though.
Yeah, just like with the with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe were talking about with the ballot harvesting.
Yep, nothing.
You know, journalists are supposed to expose fucked up shit, and when they do, like when Project Veritas does, nothing happens, right? Because the major media outlets don't pick it up, don't run with it. Everything is corrupted by bipartisanship, right? So the propaganda, the media will cover up and they won't run with it, and just nothing happens to her, you know. And then Trump, I guess, I don't know, maybe there's like a little political under the table handshake thing where, you know, lock her up, but then you don't actually lock her up. Yeah, I'm just too cynical of all that shit, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully, it turns into something. I hope so, but I don't think so.
It's going to make for a great podcast if it does.
If it does.
Because I'm going to be here in my birthday suit and a sombrero just going nuts.
Hopefully you keep your pecker under the table. You want to move on to the final question?
Yeah, the final question.
Debate, which I posted
for 500, the final question.
I posted this on the page and on the story because I thought it was an absolutely amazing question. It was asked by an 8th grader from Utah. Her name was Becklin Brown. And she said, when I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Republicans and Democrats, citizens fighting citizens, candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how can the citizens get along? Your examples can make all the difference in bringing us together. That was the question, right? Which they posed now to Pence and Harris. I thought it was a beautiful question, and it reminds me of like what our entire podcast stands for.
Yep.
Exactly what this girl is saying. You know, everyone's just fighting, and they don't, you know, talk to each other. Or they don't agree. They disagree. They're people fighting the street, and no one's doing what me and this guy are trying to do. So let's go into the responses, right? Mike Pence. This is why Mike Pence won the debate, right? In my opinion, at least. He said, well,
in nobody's opinion, he won the debate.
Yeah, he says that he started following the news when he was young. And in the United States, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate, right? Don't assume what you see on your news is synonymous with the American people. I agree. He points to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Antonin Scalia, the two recent, Supreme Court justices passed away, and how they were on total polar opposites politically, but behind closed doors, where they were the very closest of friends. And he says that we can disagree just like him and Kamala Harris, but when the debate's over, we should come together as friends. Beautifully said. And I wish our people who are actually running for president have been saying stuff like saying shit like that Mike Pence just said. Kamala Harris, she goes on to say that...
Don't lecture me.
She goes on to say that Joe Biden decided to run after Charlottesville because it troubled him, the kind of hate and division he saw, and the kind of hate and division that he's seen over the past 4 years. It's been happening. Joe works bipartisan. Joe has a history of lifting people up. He knows pain, suffering, love. When you think of the future, it's bright because of young people's leadership, and they fight for each person's voice through their country and vote to determine the future of their country.
So wait a second. Joe Biden decided to run after the Charlottesville video. You mean where that fake video that the media doctored up saying that there's very fine people on both sides?
No, I think she meant probably the actual like fighting in Charlottesville between the neo-Nazis and people and the guy running over everybody. I'm assuming that's what she meant.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if Joe Biden's running on a video that the media made to make Trump look bad, it's not a great base.
Kamala Harris gave a woke answer. Mike Pence gave a real answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just the way I see it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, without doubt, Mike Pence won this debate by a slim margin. I might say he blew her out of water. That was the most important question asked. It was like a real question, not some fucking hypothetical, stupid political question. It was a young kid asked the most important question.
Yeah.
You know? Like in our... This was a societal question.
Yeah. This is I go back to what I said about the vaccines being so polarized now that, like, you've made it so political, you fucked it for an entire group of people. No matter who wins and who produces the vaccine, you fucked it so irreversibly that just half the population isn't going to get the opportunity to potentially truly be saved. Perfectly put. There's been so much fighting and so much attacking and so much polarization that it's irreversible now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Of course the society's in this way. You know, I thought of this the other day. You know, it's a bit conspiracy, but like, you know, let's say the establishment is real, right? And for the most part, there is that corrupted shadow government that's out there. They played their cards wrong with Trump since day one. They didn't need to attack him constantly. They didn't, you know, they could have gave him the little victories and stuff like that. And they still could have inflicted enough harm and pain to make it look real. It's gone so far.
It's not believable. Yeah.
Said it for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean to cut you off, but
it's perfectly put. It's unbelievable now.
And look, I want to agree with one of the statements Mike Pence said, where he says, "Don't assume what you see on your news is synonymous with the American people." I agree.
The media is not your friend.
Right? Most people are not these super polarized people in the media or on Twitter. Most people are like me and you, probably, right? Yeah, I don't like Trump. Yeah, you don't like, you know, Democrats or whatever. But I'm not like looking to massacre everybody on the other side. I would rather, most people would probably rather them work it out than this polarized fucking way that they go about it.
And just think of how many people who aren't even political at all out there that just have to sit through this. And you know what I mean? Like, get sucked into it because there's nothing else to, you have to at this point.
The media is propaganda that's making everybody believe that everybody hates everybody.
The media
maybe they really don't.
Is the biggest virus out there, 100%.
And my final point I'm going to say here is, after the first debate, me and you said that the winner and the loser, the only loser was the American people. And I'm going to say, after this debate, the American people were the real winner of the debate, but they didn't even realize it because everyone was more interested in a fly that landed on his head.
The real winner of that debate was the fly.
The fly, yeah. We had actual debate, actual things that mattered here, and I guarantee you most people didn't pay attention to it. They just, you know, so I mean...
Hopefully you guys paid attention to us.
I hope so. You know, even if a nuanced idea or something smacks the American people in the face, they wouldn't even realize it.
No, it's just, they're blind now. There's sheep versus... Republican sheep, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. I mean, that's it. I got nothing else to say, buddy.
No, I mean, I touched on all my points. Joe Biden's got to let us know if he's going to pack the Supreme Court and give us a short list. But other than that, cheers. We had a great weekend, and
the rest of this
to another season of hunting.
Definitely gonna get after it soon.
Yep. We won't be taking any more breaks soon. We're gonna have a Halloween special coming up. We're gonna shoot for a Fucked Up Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Anything else you want to throw in?
You know, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We really want to get our subscriber count out. That's like a huge thing. To
help us
out. Yeah, you know, follow our backup page.
Yep, at 2doommen_backup. Hopefully, we might have merch in the future. We're going to see about that. And also, please just comment and ask us questions. You put that. I was going to say, did you get anything? Not a single person.
Question.
See, come on, guys, help us help you.
People, you know, when I post things on the Instagram story, like 150 people look at it, but no one ever, you know, interacts. I mean, I guess it's not interesting, maybe, or whatever. But I mean, I asked a general question. Do you have anything to ask? Nobody said it.
If you want to say something, just tell us. Fuck you. We would like to see it right there on the screen. So. As always, thank you guys for listening. Doom Nation, you're the best nation out there. You could always hear us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Our social for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter is 2 Doomed Men, at 2 Doomed Men. And then our Instagram is at 2doommen_podcast. Our email, 2doommen at gmail.com. Please reach out to us, promoters, anybody who's interested in us, even other podcasters. You want to speak to us, please message us. We would love to hear from you guys. We're always looking for advice. We'd love to give advice. Become part of the community. Let's do it, Doom Nation. Other than that, adios.
Later.